Welcome back to On the Road, where we're chatting alongside notable guests from the hockey world as we discuss and dissect the best and occasionally wildest stories from hockey travel. Road trips, favorite cities, and pit stops all along the way. What's not to love about Muskoka? I'm Jeff Marek, and welcome to On the Road, Cottage Conversations with Hockey People. And coming up on today's edition, Adam Henrique of the Edmonton Oilers. He's had a fascinating career. First of all, junior hockey, back-to-back Memorial Cup championships with the Windsor Spitfires. Rookie season with the New Jersey Devils, he goes to the Stanley Cup final. He scores a goal to get the Devils there. Last two seasons with the Edmonton Oilers, back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances. He's been that close. But between that rookie season with New Jersey and the last two seasons with the Edmonton Oilers, there's been 14 seasons worth of stories with people like Lou Lamoriello, with people like Ilya Kovalchuk, everybody that he played on with the Anaheim Ducks, and that is a long list. And you're going to hear a lot of those stories here in a moment with my conversation with Adam Henrique of the Edmonton Oilers. You could have brought the entire family to this cottage on Airbnb. Adam, we're in Muskoka, Canadian cottage country. Before we get into a lot of hockey and serious hockey, Oilers, your past with the Ducks and the Devils. Even before that, I want to talk about the old Windsor Arena, your back-to-back Memorial Cup champion Windsor Spitfires. What is off-season like for you now as a veteran player versus when you first broke into the NHL after being drafted by New Jersey?
Yeah, well, it's the biggest difference is the kids.
Are you a sports Uber yet?
Not yet. But, up early with the kids and that sort of thing. That's the biggest difference. But this is our second summer up in Muskoka. And we built the place fairly recently, and that all finished last summer, which is nice. So I think the biggest difference going in and understanding and learning what, I need to do in order to prepare for the following season. Now, the last two summers, fortunately, have been very short, which, you always want. And it just kind of cuts into that time. It's quicker turnaround and right back to training, that sort of thing. And at the same time, trying to find a little bit of reset mentally. And that's kind of the challenge, really. You take a couple weeks off, but then, you're right into, I got to start training to get ready for the next season.
How do you do that mentally? If you can just pick up on that. When you're a kid, it's just go, 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 go. Then you get a little bit older, a little more thoughtful, a little more aware of yourself. How do you sort of reset mentally?
It's being up here and being away is nice. And that certainly helps. And just being around some family and just trying to enjoy other things rather than thinking about hockey or the day-to-day grind of that.
Yeah.
And my girls they're 2.5, 1.5 now, which is great. And it that really helps, just being around them, playing, and then being up here, being able to go out on the water, trying to clear out the forest, just learning about what it takes to live in Muskoka on the day-to-day basis. But there's a lot, but it is hard. I found, my rookie season, we went to the finals, and after that, the hardest thing I found for me coming back the following season was just being a little tired mentally. Physically you can do a lot to prepare yourself and rebound and get ready again, but that mental grind of it too is another aspect that you certainly have to learn to deal with.
The mental grind is interesting. I can recall, this is 2010, so the Chicago Blackhawks are about to win the Stanley Cup, and I remember saying, like, okay, I should go back and look at the last time the Hawks won the Stanley Cup. And that was 1961, Eddie Litzenberger's team. And I'm watching videos and I'm reading interviews of like Hull and Mikita and all those guys after they won that cup. And it sounds like in their mind, they're expecting like to run the table in the 60s. Like they're going to want to rip off a whole, but that was the only Stanley Cup that they won.
Yeah.
Then it just became like, the Maple Leafs won 4, etc. But it sounded like, hearing their interviews, they thought they're going to win multiple Stanley Cup championships. When you went to the Stanley Cup final in your rookie season, you scored 2 massive goals, and I want to get into that too. Did you think like, okay, just reload, we're going right back at it next year, we're going to the Stanley Cup final?
Pretty much. You know what? We came into the playoffs. I think we were the 6th seed. Like we weren't, the top team, but we had a veteran group, and you make that run. And as a young player, you're like, okay, well, we'll be back in the playoffs and have a chance again moving forward, however long that is. And then you start to learn the business side of things, unfortunately. And that's just part of the game. I think as a young guy, you don't really grasp, because in June it's not the same. And you come into the NHL, there's contracts and all sorts of things. Now with the cap, teams get pushed up against the cap, free agents. There's so much stuff. And guys move around, and even from that team, guys retire, and critical pieces from the team that make those big runs. Now all of a sudden you got to try to fill that in with somebody else, and it was a quick turnaround. We had the lockout right after, and then it just the team is different, and other teams are getting better, and you're maybe a little worse, and it just those are the things you learn quickly that it doesn't happen every single year.
I want to transition to the Anaheim Ducks. And before we get there, I want to read you something. So I sent someone a note saying, "Hey, heads up, I'm doing an interview. Hang on, let me grab this here. Here we go. Talking to Adam Henrique. What should I know about him from his time with the Ducks?" Want to guess what he said?
I don't know.
His high character, really a quiet leader. We didn't have a lot of leadership, and he would be one of the ones to step up. Solid citizen, good old school, quiet, but solid work ethic. That true?
Yeah.
Like when you hear something like that about you, and you think about like all those years playing hockey, playing with the 99s, playing Spitfires into the NHL, AHL, Albany and all that, and you get to Anaheim and there's someone like, that's the way they remember you with the Ducks. How does that make you feel?
Good. Really good. And for me, I don't think that's ever changed. That's always kind of been my personality or character, whatever it is. Just kind of, you got to go to work. You got to put the work in. And it all took me years to learn. Yeah. How to go about it, how to do the right things day to day, how to be a professional in hockey. Because when I was younger, I didn't know where it would go. I'm just playing hockey as a young kid, just having fun. And, all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, now you go from the 99ers, AAA, there's an OHL draft. Okay. Yeah. Like I didn't realize that when I was young, now it's.
You never thought of that?
No, not
really?
Until, I was 14, I think. And my mom tells us she's pretty good. Some guy called the house and he said he wants to be your like agent or something. She's like, I don't really know, but I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, and she's like, I think he's Joe Thornton's brother. I'm like, really? Like, well, are you sure? And she's like, well, I don't know. He was going to come to a game. And so anyways, fast forward, we lost the game. So I didn't meet him. And then he's like, oh, he wants us to come to Toronto to meet him. And he's like Joe's twin, and I'm like, that's Joe's brother. Like, And so John Thornton became my agent. And but before all that, like, we're just from a small town working on the farm. Like, I didn't know where hockey would go. Yeah. And my parents certainly didn't. And all of a sudden you have a family advisor and he mapped out the entire career. I remember we're sitting in this boardroom and it was like every single team and whatever from like this point on to, the NHL.
Really? This when you're playing with Brantford?
Yeah. And we're, my parents are just, hardworking people. And we're like, okay, well, that all sounds nice. Like, great. whether it all would happen or not, we don't know. And sure enough, get drafted to Windsor that following year, and move away from home, and same, the typical kind of junior story. So I moved in with a fantastic billet family that we're very close with, still close to this day, and with their kids, and that's something pretty special, and a big part of what goes into every young kid's journey, hopefully to the NHL. So there's so much that goes into really your career. It's kind of hard to think about it as you're going through it, and appreciate it all. And like we were talking before, just the good old days, and next thing you know, you look back and like, oh, those were the best days.
You don't realize at the time.
No, you don't. And then because from very fortunate to be able to play in the NHL, and it's special, and try not to take it for granted and try to enjoy every day. But sometimes it becomes a job at times.
Of course.
And so you try to reset and try to take it all in and enjoy it, and at the same time you want to have that success. But playing in junior hockey was just some of the greatest. Really not a ton of pressure, just going out having fun with the guys.
And it's easy when you're back-to-back Memorial Cup champions with the Windsor Spitfires, Bob Boughner behind the bench. Maybe this is an unfair question, but here I go. Which team do you think was better of the two that won the Memorial Cup? The first is always special. Man, second year you guys had Cam Fowler. Holy jeez.
Yeah, and man, it's hard to say. Like, we were the paths to both were so different, and I don't know if like bringing in Cam Fowler was a huge difference maker the second year.
I remember talking to someone in Windsor, said, you got to come watch a game. This guy skates like Scott Niedermayer. I'm like, get lost. Like, no one skates. And I went, holy jeez. Cam Fowler kind of skates like Scott Niedermayer.
Yeah. And so that second year, Cam comes over and plays. And I think it took him a while to adjust and get comfortable. And DJ Smith was, pretty hard on him at times throughout the season. But he built him up, and Cam, by the end of that season, Cam was our guy. Cam was our best defenseman. He was just he's just so steady. He just goes about his business, but he's so good. And that second year, we kind of we were down 3-0 to Kitchener, and the team was just good, calm, get the first win and go from there. And then we just reeled off like 12 or 15 in a row all the way to the Memorial Cup final, and kind of walked through that tournament. Yeah. The confidence was so high with that group that there was no stopping us.
You got that sense watching you play. Yeah. I mean, it helps to have elite level players like yourself, like Taylor Hall, etc., and a great coach in Bob Boughner. Let me ask you about one moment in the Brandon Memorial Cup. I remember watching it. It was a game against Brandon, and Travis Hamonic hits Taylor Hall. And I saw the hit. I remember watching that, like, oh, he's not getting up. He pops up. I'm like, thank God. But that hit was frightening. Yeah. Where were you when that? Like, I'm sure you remember. Like, everyone. It's one of those things you can't forget. Like, where were you when it happened, and what did you think? Because I just thought the worst.
Yeah, I was on the ice. I played with Halsey on the line, and I was standing out front, and I saw the hit, and I was like, oh God, it's over. Yeah. And if it probably happened to anybody else, it probably would have been a different outcome. But Halsey, the way he is, just right back up. He's fine.
And he scored an incredible goal.
Came back the next shift, put it through his legs, and scored a goal. It was like, all right, we're good, we're safe. Yeah. But it just, and again, one of those moments kind of along that whole run, and playing in Brandon against Brandon, that was a huge moment at the start of that game. Could have went maybe the other way. And I think we won like 9-3 or something. Yeah. and we were off, but man, those were, like I said, those were the best times of just playing hockey.
Just fun, right? And
just fun.
Seemed like I've talked to various. I was talking to Sam Gagne about this when he played London on a line with Patrick Kane and Sergei Kostitsyn. Like, one of the best lines London has ever had.
Those guys are fun to play against.
Oh, and they were just like puck on a string. Like, was that like the most? I think the question I had for Sam was that the easiest hockey was for you? was playing with those back-to-back Memorial Cup champions. Was that when hockey was the easiest for you?
Yeah, like in Bob and DJ and Bob Jones, and like these guys ran it like an NHL team in a true professional atmosphere. Like that's what made the difference, I think, for everybody coming in, and to be able to take their experience through their careers in Warren, they put that right into us and right into the group and right into the organization, and that was why it all took off.
Hey there, it's Jeff Marek here. Hope you've been enjoying this series as much as I've loved being part of the creation of it. My wife and I both have countless memories from spending time discovering Canada. Well, I always come back to the summer of 2005. We were staying at a cottage on Lake Joseph here in Muskoka, watching the Live 8 Music Festival in Barrie on television. My buddy Jeremy Taggart, former drummer from Our Lady Peace, dropped by after his band's set and stayed the rest of the weekend at the cottage after the band's set and told some incredible backstage stories about some amazing Canadian music icons. I will never forget that. And fast forward to today, I'm a hockey parent, and I feel like I'm always on the road with my family. Whether that means traveling across Southern Ontario hockey rinks during the week or overnight at tournaments on select weekends. But what makes our hockey experience even more special is booking a place on Airbnb when we're on the road for overnight tournaments. There's more room for the kids to have fun with their buddies at the house. We can host teammates' families for dinners and video review screenings, and everyone can get their own space under one roof and some well-earned shut-eye for the next day's slate of games, and they are many. All of this traveling got me to thinking, my home's just sitting empty when I could be hosting it on Airbnb instead. Hosting just fits into anyone's lifestyle, even mine. I'd simply put up my house on Airbnb, pre-select dates that I want to host, bam. It's practical, easy to manage, and it enables people like me to make some money while they're not at home. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.ca/host. When I look at your time, nobody plays in New Jersey without having a thought about Lou Lamoriello, right? And everyone's got Lou stories. I don't know if he was still doing you go to the office to get your check every 2 weeks. I don't know if you were one of those guys that did that. But he also coached briefly. He was also on the bench in a sort of coaching transition era there. Thoughts on Lou? He's not from the old school. He's from the school they burned down to build the old school. He's an old school guy. Just thoughts on Lou?
I loved him, and you hear about his rules, right? He's got all these rules and clean shaven and all these sorts of things, but he's there to teach, and he teaches it a certain way, and I think the guys he had for years and years and years appreciated that. The Scott Stevens teams, those teams that won. Marty Brodeur was there for so long with him, Patrick Eliash, all these guys.
Kenny Danico.
Yeah, and they won and they had success, and I think that was all because of what Lou, started to build there, and those guys, I'm sure, have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And then it just kind of, as you go, some players, they just kind of don't fit that mold where, the rules and the day-to-day of what he expects. And if you don't buy in, well, there's going to be a move-on period. And I think, when you do that and he takes care of you, you're on the inside and you're his guy and you're part of one of his teams, he'll do anything for you to take care of you, your family, and he'll tell you that. So, that part of it, you want to play for him. He's always wondering what's going on, how you doing, good or bad. He just wants you to be the best. And I think that's why he was around for so long. And he had a tremendous amount of success over his years. And then, once he moved on from Jersey, again, he carried that over in other organizations too. So, I can always, I had to thank him to get my start in the NHL, and he's a big reason for that. And I think for me, I fit into that, at the time, New Jersey Devils kind of mold as a player. and going in there and being able to learn from him is, I still think about it going to the rink today, what he would expect from me. And
Really? You still think about Lou?
Lou always comes up. Yeah. And you walk into that arena, he's going to pop up around the corner somewhere and get you. So you always had to be on your toes going into the rink. But he is great. I loved playing for him, and he always took care of his guys.
I want to ask you about Kovalchuk here in a second, because he's one of the most interesting players of that era. But when you scored that OT winner against the Florida Panthers, did you think, okay, I've scored my biggest goal of the playoffs?
Yeah.
Because then you did it again against the Rangers to send your Devils into the final.
Yeah, it was special. Like we were the 6th seed, they were the 3, and I think we had more points than them. And it was the old system, but and Travis Zajac scored in overtime to force the game 7, so we were going back to Florida. Yeah. And I remember I just was like just tired. I'm like a young kid just trying to grind it through and just sleeping as much as possible. But going into that game, or throughout that game, I guess, the puck was following me around a bit, had a couple chances to score. All of a sudden get to overtime. I remember looking at the clock going in the second. It was like past midnight. It's like 8 o'clock start. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, it's getting late. Like, this is crazy. And, got the turnover and was able to score. And it just like, holy, the emotions from it and from the guys and everything with it was amazing. And yeah, it's like, that's the biggest goal ever. For me and at the time and my rookie season and how special it all was. And
hockey's easy.
Yeah.
We're going to the
Cup
every year.
This all the time. Yeah. And then, fast forward to the Ranger goal in that series, and to be able to do it again was like even crazier. My mom and dad, I remember they came down to the game, the Ranger game, and were sitting in the corner, and when you score, it's just mayhem. So yeah. But afterwards, my dad was telling me he ran down to the glass. He's like pounding on the glass and with the fans right in there. And so everybody's got their own little stories of those moments, and to be able to score those goals was like crazy.
What can you tell us about Ilya Kovalchuk? Just like supremely talented, obviously. But like, what do you think people have maybe either missed on Kovalchuk? Your experiences with Kovalchuk, just like supremely gifted player, obviously, really interesting personality. When I say the name Ilya Kovalchuk, what do you think of?
He was a great teammate, and I think that it probably gets lost in everything that had happened, and I don't know the reasoning behind everything and the retirement and going back, all those sorts of things. I don't know, but my experience was he's a great teammate. And there's a lot of guys on there. There's, the dinner groups and everybody that would go out to dinner, and they'd always bring me along, go to dinner with those guys. And like, you're sitting at dinner with Kovalchuk and Brodeur and David Clarkson was there at the time. And like all these guys, and I'm just a young kid, just again, not saying much, just hanging out. And so they'd always take you under their wing, and then played with on a line with them most of that season. And same thing, more just, he would talk to me as a young guy. There was never any, added extra pressure from him. It was just kind of go play. And then for how good he was, it was amazing. Like with the things he could do, I'd say he played 30 minutes a night sometimes. His shot, his talent, and he's a big guy, and he could move. And, that was a lot of fun being able to be his teammate for a little while there in Jersey. So it's, but I had nothing but great things to say about him as a teammate.
Your golf tournament with Brandon Montour. First of all, where did that friendship start, and tell us about the tournament?
So the friendship actually, not until I got traded to Anaheim and he was there. Yep. And he went to high school with my brother, actually.
Okay.
And I've heard, different versions of the story, but I think Monty used to cheat off my brother's tests in high school.
Has he ever copped to that?
He hasn't. No, my brother tells it differently. So, but that's where the friendship started. And then for years, guys always have their events and charity things in the summer, and it was something that I was always interested in. And once we started talking about it, kind of came to fruition. When I was 15, I got invited to the Walter Gretzky tournament in Brantford.
Wow.
And as a celebrity, and I'm like, what? I'm not a celebrity. And
Windsor Spitfire,
played there for a few years, and that was kind of where it kind of came from for me. Mm-hmm. And to be able to give back to your community is something pretty special, and to be able to do it with a good friend as well made it a lot easier and a lot of fun. So it's we just had our 5th year and just surpassed over $500,000 raised.
That's great.
Which is, way above where I ever expected it to go. Mm-hmm. And we just donate back to the community, all around Brant County and Burford and out on the reservation by him. And, there's nothing too big or too small that we'll donate to. And then this year we're building covered benches in the Burford soccer outdoors and all sorts of different things. Burford dance, sorry. And just everything. And to be able to see it just put back into our community and really make a difference, I think, for the both of us is pretty special.
Who's a better golfer, you or him?
Me.
I said that real fast.
Yeah. You know what? And neither of us we neither of us play a ton or take it too serious. But and really the event is, again, it's turned into a huge family thing. It's the same people come out every single year and just love it and tell us how much they love coming out, and it's pretty special, and it's certainly gone above and beyond what I ever thought it would.
Listen, you play in a hockey mad market. Is it possible, or do you even think about tuning out everything around you? Even that includes what's going on at the rink at home, where, man, and you've heard it, that is one of maybe the loudest rinks in the NHL.
Yeah, it's, so what get traded there, play out the season and whatever, free agency and you have options, that sort of thing. But to be able to experience that in that first playoff run, it's something that I haven't had. Even in Jersey, like, the fans are amazing, but in Canada,
it's different.
It's different. It just is. And to be walking around the city and the people just love it. Like, they just love the team and love the guys, and everybody was so nice around the city. And then at the games, every single person in the arena is wearing a jersey. Every single one. It's just a fashion thing. It just is what it is. And they just love the
fresh
team.
Off the runways of Edmonton.
Yeah, and you get the blue collar worker. Everybody just loves the team, and that's special. And it doesn't happen everywhere, and was a big reason of why I wanted to go back there to have another chance. And I'm getting older, and the career's getting shorter and shorter, and the time is now, and so to be able to experience that has been amazing. And even my family, my brothers, and everybody comes to the games, and it's hard to explain unless you experience it. And stand on the blue line for the national anthem and a Stanley Cup final game, like, the crowd is nuts. Yeah. The people are nuts, and it's amazing. And they just love the team, and like, the city just loves it so much that, like, it really is special to play there.
It's an incredible hockey market. You're right. Like, everybody's passionate, everybody's loud. I always find that, and I think that every player should have I'm going to sound like an arrogant Canadian here, but, like, should have, like, the Canadian experience, to know what it's like to play in a Canadian market. And the fans are crazy and loud and insane and all of, like, everything. They know the history of the game. They know all the players, all the backstories, all of it. Does it take a unique personality to thrive in that environment? Like, essentially what I'm asking, is that for everybody?
Yeah. I guess it's not, because, I don't know why. There's so many guys that grow up in Canada and have made it to the NHL that to be able to play there, it's just, there's nothing like it. So, you talk the pressure of playing in Canada. Like, I don't know if it's so much just, it's the pressure you got to put on yourself too as a player, just to perform and be able to kind of block it out. But it is hard. It's challenging, and it's part of that. And there's so many other places that you can go that it's not there. And you get up, you go to work, do your thing, you go home, go around the city, you can do your thing. You know, people don't really recognize you, and you kind of carry on. But but that's part of that. You know, you only get a certain amount of time to be playing in this league, you know, and some guys are fortunate to play a very long time, but so for me to get a few years of being able to play in Canada and experience it is, you know, pretty high in my career of special things to enjoy.
Who were your guys when you were a kid?
So the literally the entire family were just Leafs. It's Leafs, but like we grew up Southern Ontario.
Yeah.
I liked the Wings. And I think because, you know, when I was 5 or 6 years old, when they were the team and they won, and I could understand that. And Steve Yzerman was my guy, and you know, the Russian Five there, Fedorov, those guys, like amazing to watch. I remember we were all sitting on the couch one night, like late, everybody's asleep when they won the cup, their first cup, I think. And I was still young, like to really understand it, but like to be able to have that, and then that's kind of the drive, and that's the dream. And you know, we all know the numbers of to make it to the NHL from wherever is so small, but to be able to just live that and enjoy that as a young kid, like not thinking about anything else. You know, all the school assignments are, what do you want to do when you're older? Well, I want to play in the NHL.
Yep.
Whether or not, you know, sure enough, along the way,
so many kids have said it.
And teachers, well, do you have a plan B? Do you have a plan B? And I actually have a picture of, you know, the life plan. And it was, again, hockey. What do you want to do at 35? I want to still play in the NHL. And I think my mom showed it to me like last year, and sure, you know, I turned 35 and still being able to play. So it's pretty amazing that, you know, that is actually happening. And, you know, I try to remind myself of that. And
let me finish up on this one. The Muskoka experience, like Canadian cottage country. It's beautiful up here. You have a thought on Muskoka? I mean, it's populated by so many NHLers.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I didn't grow up coming up here. I didn't really know a ton of it till 4 or 5 years ago. And my wife's family, they had a ton of hockey guys that they would come up and stay at their cottages, and kind of grew up in it and just loved it. Lauren loved it and loved everything about it, and going to camp up here and all those sorts of things.
Oh, nice.
So when we finally made those decisions to come up here and check it out, and you know, my big worry was, well, training and skating. Like, where do you do that up here? And Sam Gagne has the Muskoka hockey and has really solved all those issues, that now you can just be here and still have everything that you need for us to prepare.
Yep.
You know, off ice stuff, on ice stuff, everything is here. And that really kind of eased my mind about being up here. Yeah. You know, because you are a little isolated and that sort of thing, but
don't have to drive 2 hours to skate.
No. And it's amazing to be up here, and for, you know, the biggest thing I noticed too from last summer and this summer is just like the kids were just outside all day. Yeah. Outside all day playing at the park, on the water, whatever it is, get the water toys out, and it's just like, it's amazing to be able to give that to them and to be a part of that, and just like try to enjoy it all, get away from hockey and in the rink and all those sorts of things. So couldn't be happy with our decision coming up here.
This has been great. Thanks so much for today.
Oh, this is awesome. Thank you for having me.